bed or a meal.
Yeah.
That's right.
When you're in America, where most everybody has a shower, you do that.
I know.
In Europe,
You know what somebody said that's really true in America right now? Instead of having minimum wage, we should have a minimum income. Like everybody should have a certain income that they promised. Because you can't live on the minimum wage either. Unless you have a lot of friends or you want to pack into an apartment.
Come-throughs.
all right, come-throughs.
This is a class on come-throughs.
Yes.
Barb, have you ever accessed any come-throughs of yours?
Yeah, I sure have at some point, but most of them had to do with, like, you know, wanting approval or trying to, like, robotically be somewhere on time and things like that.
What about, okay, a lot of come-throughs are very small, or seem small. What about,
Or like showing up for a holiday when I didn't feel like it, or some kind of party where I didn't feel like it.
What about Ross?
I have access come-throughs concerning my cat, concerning my sister, concerning my job.
Can you tell us some, like, why don't we start with your job? Tell us some things about come-throughs for your job.
Okay, in my job, I have to be very prepared and give my maximum. Otherwise, I will lose the job. This is one of the come-throughs. I have to be the best. With my cat, I have to protect them. And I think there is something in a past life involved in this. Not only my cat, but all cats. For example, the cats in the street. If I see a cat in the street, I have to bring food.
Yeah.
I have to do that sort of thing.
Right.
And with my sister, again, it's a matter of protection. So protection is playing a great role in my life. It's my duty to protect people.
Okay.
I have kind of a come through with this cafe thing.
What about that? Tell me.
It's not really a come through, but it's sort of like maybe a proof. Like I feel like guys like Michael Cates or people like, you know, I have to prove that I could make it work, or you know that. You know, like what we've talked about can happen, and I don't want to fail.
Everybody tests this question. Are proofs and come-throughs related?
Proofs and come-throughs? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I used to race around to try to be on time for something or something, that would be to prove that I'm responsible or something.
Are come-throughs related to counter-mission? Test that.
Come-throughs related to counter missions.
I get yes. I get a yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are come-throughs related to compensation?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just read you something about compensation. Compensation, giving something to make up. I'm hearing a lot of noise.
It's not me.
That's Anna's getting out of her car or something.
No, I just put you on mute because I think it's the road.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's a real rough sound here. Okay.
Okay. Barb?
Hey, compensation.
Barb, go on mute.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Thanks. Giving something to make up for something else you haven't given. Is that related to come-throughs?
I guess yes.
Yes.
So, let's understand something about, let's go back to Ross and your job. Okay?
Yeah.
You have to be very prepared and do very well or else you'll lose the job.
Yes, because I'm not a mother tongue teacher. That's why.
Now, is this test, do I prepare and do all these things compulsively?
Yeah, I guess yes.
Okay. So, it starts out with doing something willingly.
Okay.
When you do something willingly, you can also say no to it or certain aspects of it intentionally and willingly.
Okay. Okay.
Now, this drops down to doing it compulsively. Let's say you say no to it or some part of it, and you get attacked or coerced, or you become collusive with something that's trying to force you, and so you start doing this thing compulsively. Okay?
Yes.
Now you're going to want to say no in reaction.
Yes.
Barb?
I'm still here. I'm listening. I'm on mute.
Can you comment on this? Can you see any signs of
Yeah,
this
well,
in
I'm
your
just looking
life?
at the cafe situation.
Okay, well,
I feel like at first I did it, just by choice because it seemed like a nice opportunity, and then I got impulsive just because I wanted to prove that I was, effective. I got into it. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to, flake and stuff. And now I feel like, I'm sitting up here back in my old, preferred perch, and I'm remembering that good feeling, but like I'm thinking I think one of the telltale things is that I should do this. That's sort of like a telltale symptom of a come-through. I should do that.
yeah.
I should, it's not like the thing you feel like you want to do or is even the test that's the best or the highest result or vibration. But it feels like, well, I should because I said I would, or,
Yes. Yes.
So those are like clues that you might be in a come-through.
That's absolutely right. And so, from there, a person who's doing something compulsively will then say no reactively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is the story, by the way, of Franny. Okay? Franny has a lot of come-throughs. And the way I'm sort of talking about Franny, but she's here listening. Right, Franny? Are you here and listening, Bono?
Maybe she's on mute.
Yeah, well, she's on. She would.
Most definitely she's on mute.
Bono?
She could be interacting with, kids or brother and sister.
Well, anyway, I'll just say what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That Franny, at first she does things willingly, and then, like, people start to depend on her, and she doesn't want to be doing certain things or as much, so she does them compulsively, and that's a come-through. And then...
And that sounds different. Because if you do something willingly, it's fine. If you do it against your will, you start doing compulsively. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
It's not even like your will, it's like against your test, kind of.
Or, yeah, it's not against your will. It's against your sense of where you really should be and what you should really be doing.
Because the come-through, basically, you have to do it.
And also, when you get really reasonable, like I'm sitting here and I could be here and I could do it, there's a million things to do, and it's not necessarily a paycheck, where if I get mental about it, I could go to Albuquerque, make some money, it's rational, it's reasonable, but it doesn't raise my dimension or my vibration. Like,
Yeah.
But it sounds like the right thing to do. It's like the reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. It's not, oh, wonderful, I'm going to do that, I'm so happy.
Yeah, it doesn't have the magical, like, manifesting feeling to it.
Okay. But I think our situation in jobs is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, you can be doing something that is very worthwhile and get into this come-through syndrome with it, and it cripples you. So
Yeah.
so that you can't do this worthwhile thing anymore.
Right.
Like, let me use Greg as an example. Greg,
Yeah.
remember when
I certainly have that.
you went to, like, you were a class 3 or 4 assistant or something, and then you went to Crete?
Yeah, I went to Israel on an archaeological dig.
Or something, you went away. Was there something like this going on when you were assisting?
Yeah, I don't, you know, I don't know. That's not like the strongest example of what come throughs for me. I was assisting because I loved what I was doing, in some case, I said yes to whatever was needed and wanted. I was there 7 days a week, all day long, and it went on for a couple of years.
Right.
So I said, well, gee, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something for myself.
Do you think it started to become compulsive? That you were saying yes and being there compulsively? Like it was a come-through?
Yeah, I had lots of come-throughs, and it was just...
So then you reacted to that and you said no. And the no was reactive.
I didn't say no to assisting. I just was taking a vacation. I came back and started assisting right away.
Right.
So it was not. I'd say it's not a very good example, but I get it.
Were you in a reactive state when you left?
I suppose I certainly didn't experience it as such. I
Sometimes.
thought everybody reacted to me because I decided, go do something.
Right. Well,
It's like, okay, I'm assisting. When I was there, I was assisting the whole time. Everyone I was talking to, I knew when the courses were. I had my attention on the platform. I said, today, what time is it now? They're just starting. So it was like.
did that feel compulsive to you?
And no, it didn't, but I think it was. I think I was very compulsive about most everything in my life. My compulsions are not about assisting and all that. It's about who I have to be, and I have to do it all the time, and like some sense of what and who I have to be all the time, and I have to be conscious and be meaningful and that sort of thing.
Test, is that a proof?
That's a proof, yes.
Are some of those things also compensations?
It becomes a compensation when I do it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not doing it. It's not, when I'm going to come through, it becomes a compensation because I'm not experiencing a real sense of, okay, this is a solid choice. Very few people, I think, actually really experience that very much. Maybe Bono does, you know. Well, Bono and Bono. But because when I'm really, it seems like anything I'm doing kind of compulsively, there's a lack of something.
Yes.
Lack of experience or something that I want, so I want to do it more. I want to, you know, write the great American novel. I want to win an Academy Award.
Or you just want to come through.
Just want to come through
For
and
people
do it.
who are demanding things from you.
Yeah, I certainly don't.
Or
do that
you think
same
they're,
way.
for when you think, see, one of the things I've noticed about you is that a lot of times you think that I'm demanding something that I'm not. Like you're assuming a demand.
I'm certainly acting that way.
Uh-huh.
So, and that came from, I think in the past I used to think that.
You know, let me give you an example of something, and you don't just do this with me, but it's like you're talking to somebody on the phone, and the person starts to say goodbye to you. They're wrapping the call up. I've seen you do this with Fanny, like she's wrapping up the call and saying goodbye, and in the middle of that, you'll sort of like cut across and you'll go, I gotta go. That's like you're actually assuming the person wants to stay on the phone. Like they're getting off the phone and you're reacting to a demand that you think they're making, that you stay on the phone with them. See, a lot of come-throughs.
You're still talking.
A lot of come-throughs are people come through with things that they imagine the other person wants or needs.
Yeah, I'm aware of that quite often.
Uh-huh. So, come-throughs ultimately prevent you from doing the thing that, you know, is up for being done. Like, I think the best thing to do probably is to tell a story. But, Barb, are you following this whole thing? Yeah? Tell me something. When you were talking with Anna a little while ago about the coffee shop, what did you guys come up with anything? Any conclusions?
Yeah, we were sitting there with Nancy, Kenny, and stuff, and I don't know. We just kept. Anna kept going in the direction of that it wasn't the right thing for me to do myself here, and that it felt better, you know, to do something like that in Florida near you guys, or you know, then Nancy sort of chimed in, and you know, like the energy wasn't there for me to, that it seemed like not a lively enough spot and, you know, location. You know, then of course in my mind I was thinking, well, we could make it lively by advertising or by talking about it or by calling people to come in. And, you know, I know you, and I know that, you know, you wouldn't let anything really fail.
Oh no, that isn't true. You should not think that about this, because, see, what's happening is.
I mean, like I'm just saying, and also now I'm sitting here, I'm looking out this beautiful view, and I'm up above things, and the sun's shining, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm free. I don't have to do this thing anymore. That feeling, you know, the feeling that you have after you flake from something, you know. But
well, you know, if you go back to Greg, okay, to Greg's example of where he left assisting and he went to a dig in Egypt. He went to Egypt. And I think a lot of times when a person reacts against a come-through, if it doesn't destroy them, like if the come-through wasn't like that, they weren't doing something that was essential,
Yeah.
and they, you know, they just go off somewhere, it does free them, and they can come back. When they come back, they're back at, you know, it's like what you were saying this morning, I'm right back where I started, remember?
Yes, I came in with nothing and I'm leaving with nothing.
Unless you've cleared something,
No
heard
complaints.
something and changed in some way.
Yes, I have changed something. I made a little impact. I have a better relationship with Anna. We have that going on. That's good. So,
I suppose that's the point of taking a vacation or having time off to.
yeah, it was like I now understand Albuquerque more and all that stuff, and that was good. Yeah, it wasn't like a negative experience. It's not like totally over because of the project at the house, and my relationship with Anna's, like I said, is a positive thing. And everybody I met there.
Well, I want you to test something. When you sat down and discussed this with Anna a little while ago, did you feel more relaxed about owning the cafe? Just test whether you did.
No, well, she didn't feel relaxed about it, and maybe I was picking that up. You know, I mean, if I had $10,000 and I owned it, but I would be owing her, so that's not very relaxed.
So you get no when you test.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's probably the only way to tell whether it's the thing to do or not.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm tormented because I can't tell whether I'm switched and all that stuff, but
Well, I can't either.
yeah.
I'll tell you another thing. It might be easier for me personally to understand more about it if I were actually physically there
Yeah, I know.
and I could see you in the space and, you know, and like
Yeah.
watch you, and then I'd probably have more information for you, you know. And when I've seen you there, you seem very happy, and that was on Skype.
Yeah.
But I, you know, obviously, if I was just there, I'd be observing you at times when you didn't know you were observed, because when we're on Skype together.
Yeah. Well, that's part of what we were talking about. Like, I do have one, you know, I like, you know, when people come in, I light up. It's fun. It's like fun when I walk in. I like talking to them. I like giving them what they want. I like serving food. I mean, it's kind of in my blood to serve, to give people something and take their money. It's fun to give. It's been so long since I provided a service and saw money come back. It's like, it was fun, even when it was $1 and $2 and $5 and $10. It was like interaction, and it felt good because it's been so long since I had that. And so that's a fun thing. Now, if I would have asked each person, like, hey, would you like a bumper sticker? Like, I didn't really talk about the Cure Drive much. It was just a cafe job, you know? So if I owned it, I would be more bold because I didn't want to, like, you know, compromise Anna, or I didn't know if she was into it, or I didn't know if that was okay. If I owned it, I would be more, you know, bold about that, I guess, too. So there
Well,
might be
sure,
more.
that's a big if, but the question is, I mean, I think what Anna was asking you is, do you want to own it? And, you know, what did you come to when you were with her, you know, having coffee with her a little while ago? Did you come to that you wanted to own it, or that you didn't want to own it?
I guess not. I guess not. I mean, I guess it's like, you know, I'm not up to the commitment of it.
Why?
Not trusting that I can be somewhere every day, and that I can do all the shopping, and I can just have the physical energy to do everything that's required.
Okay. Okay, so what you're saying is you don't trust yourself completely enough with.
Yeah. That I would,
Well,
say a little bit.
is it,
Or that I couldn't put well and have fun with it. It would become like a really like I see so many people in the restaurant business, like this all-consuming job that's like hard work and just like hard. That's not the way life has been, but.
well, test this question. Does it feel like a come-through to me?
Yeah, it feels like I'm trying to prove something to my friends or my family, or I think I'm trying to do something and make a success of myself.
Right. So see, what's happened is you've gotten into this come-through, which then brought you to a place of rejection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. You mean rejecting the idea because I think it's a come through?
It feels too compulsive.
Mm-hmm.
So you reject it.
Yeah.
When things feel compulsive, there comes a point when we reject them. And like right now, like both Anna and I gave you this like choice, like, well, what do you want, like, and what, then when you went to choose, the compulsive feeling was what you noticed. Like that was the thing. That was the thing that was obvious.
Yeah, well, it seems like the thing that I want doesn't seem like legitimate. So this like a legitimate thing, and I should want it because it would make me look normal and legitimate. I have a regular job that people understand. But the truth is, I just want to, try to find my rhythm and be my own person and manifest a client and try to have, be, not beholden to be in a particular place at a particular time. And all that.
Did you find your rhythm when you were like dishing out food and taking money?
A little bit.
Obviously, you did because you were happy and you were enjoying yourself, and right. I mean,
but then again, I wasn't shopping. I wasn't cooking. I was just showing up and selling cookies.
That's right.
I had no real responsibilities. I was kind of like a overqualified employee,
I think the thing is you do have responsibilities and such, but you don't recognize them because it negated your come-through, and you're not in the come-through dynamic. If you're in the come-through dynamic, then you've got more awareness of, my responsibilities. It's a different kind of an animal then. So like you're just in your element.
Well, I was really good with the people and all that, so I had my expertise, and I think that's why,
You recognize that actually you're fulfilling what you wanted in your come through.
Yeah. And originally I was excited we had a big vision. Originally I was excited we were going to have one here in Santa Fe and all that. And we realized today too that we accomplished our mission. Like we made the place really fun and beautiful and sellable. Now people like it. And we got our house to the point where it's really nice, easily rentable. And the thing we didn't do is we were thinking of making it like another one here in Santa Fe, which is I always thought I'd come back to Santa Fe, but we didn't find, that's not happening. We didn't have enough money to start one here in Santa Fe. And actually there's people here that have really sophisticated gluten-free shops now that are doing gangbuster business here in Santa Fe. So, that's another thing that was daunting, that I'm not a, professional baker. It's so competitive. But the idea of having a retail shop for immunics, that's not the first time I've thought about that, having a location to do immunics from, or have people come in and be exposed to, me or connecting and all that stuff. Like, that's an interesting idea. It's different than just a coffee shop.
But I think that this is your dream coming true, and now that it's coming true, you're afraid of accepting it.
Well, I mean, I never honestly had a dream about owning a. I mean,
I don't know really specifically owning a place, but having a steady job, steady money coming in, at the same time dealing units, you know. But no,
I was telling Barry, but my dream, and I had a little bit, was my dream was I'd just like to be able to walk in somewhere and for 3 or 4 or 5 hours of my best hours of the day where I'm fresh, do my thing, get paid for it, and leave. That's why my dream job was like to have a radio show or a TV show or somewhere I just go in there, try to be doing it for a while, you know, get paid for it, and then go home and do it again the next day. But, you know, and then I'm counted on to be like really clear and just do my thing for that many hours. But this job, and I watched my father and my grandfather and everybody else do it, it has 18 million responsibilities and unexpected things. The pipe breaks or the toilet breaks or the lights go off or somebody trips and falls or, you know, there's like, you never know what's going to happen in the restaurant business or you run out of something. Yeah. Like I was privileged at first, and that's what burnt Anna out, because I would just walk in there and kind of be, you know, cute and do my thing, but then she was running around, you know, ragged, doing everything that had to be done to sort of hustle.
So you mean that's what burned her out? That there?
Yeah, that she expected to have a full partner in the sense that I would run around, I would do the buying or be interested in learning how to do that or the accounting or whatever. And I never really rose to that level. I just kind of was able to do my little piece of showing up and, you know.
Was that a reaction to the come-through where you don't want to do that stuff? You know, like...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like with every job I've had since, you know, staff. I just can't hardly do what's out of my thing. Like, I've always got to put my body first or my, you know, like I'm all...
So it's like a comfort level. When it's at your comfort level.
Yeah, well, that's what gets me upset. Like, I feel like I'm unemployable. Like, I am a kind of unemployable. I can't do what they don't want to do or don't feel like doing. I don't think I can handle it.
So let's test if that is actually the come through an operation when you get that feeling and that these ideas and so forth.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
you're in a come-through. That's a question, though.
You know,
like when I was getting up really early, when I was unlocking the gates to the whole place. First, you know, I was sort of in a like trying to, like, you know, be like my dad or be, you know, make my family proud of me and stuff like that.
Right.
And even Anna was saying, like, you know, in the middle of the winter, even though it's warmer down there, which is one of the reasons I was thinking about it, because I'm going to be cold this winter if I don't figure out something. It's 10 degrees warmer down there, but it's still cold. It's not like summertime and you get up in the morning and it's really cold. Not like really cold, but, you know, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm being just wimpy. I think it's a good opportunity.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. And the thing is that
I was working up to getting up and going running again, but I wasn't getting up and going running. I was getting up and just like getting my clothes on, getting in the car, and getting over there and unlocking the gate. You know, that was my workout. And, you know, I never got to the point where I was, you know, exercising again in the morning.
So, actually, is like, here's something. Maybe you could test this. Am I willingly saying no to owning the cafe?
Willingly.
Am I just not as a reaction, but just, you know, I'm willingly saying no to something that I don't want to do. Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah.
You get yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then you've cracked the code. I mean, you're out of the come through. And even though it may be scary to be without a job and your stuff is in 2 places and all this stuff, you're probably better off. You're definitely better off than if you were in a come through.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the place where you don't want to be.
I'm probably more in a position to do what I do best, is to manifest something, you know.
And Ross, what about you? Now, you have your job.
I don't know if I have my job because so far I haven't been called to do anything at school because it seems that there are no students and there is a big maybe. We hope that we will have students in the future.
Okay. So Tess, when I do my job, am I completely willing to do it without any compulsion?
No.
Okay. Just try this. I'm now bringing myself up to full willingness to do my job.
Okay, I get yes.
Okay. You see, like you can see the reason that I can't advise Barb to try to push through on this and get this cafe, because I have absolutely no idea, even though Barb you're trying to tell us as best you can what's entailed. I still don't have not too much of a good idea about it. I mean, obviously you could go to bed really early and you could wake up at 4 in the morning and take your run and do all this stuff you do, and then you could go over there and unlock everything or get to the wholesaler at 7 in the morning and buy the stuff and then get over there. After exercising and going to the gym, you could go to the wholesaler. You could do it all. And this is sort of like what my life is like. Like, I spend the entire day doing things around the house and whatever. I make movies. I made an assistance orientation. By the way, the assistance orientation for Cure Cafe is now an hour and a half. It's too bad there's no Cure Cafe, because we have a great...
That's what I mean. I feel like I'm like the flake now because I don't have them.
Yeah, but I don't feel that way about you, just so you know.
Good.
I do not feel that way about you, because I can't make the decision about this unless I'm willing to put my ass on the line and say, okay, I'm going to get in the car and drive out there and I'm going to stand by Barb and do this, where I can't make a decision for you. I mean, because when you and I used to work together, and I remember you would get into the lot. We had this arrangement, and you would get down into the library. Our office was in the library of the house, not the library, the dining room, with this enormous dining room. But we set our desks up in there.
Right.
And Franny sealed off the door to the main room so that we could heat it. And Barb would get down in there, at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and she'd build a fire so that we didn't have to turn the heat on, because the heat for that part of the house was a different system. And we didn't want to turn it on. It heated this gigantic house, and all we wanted was this one little room, or this big room heated, so we heated it very nicely with a fire, and we just used to burn a fire all day.
That's great.
And Barb would slap web pages up, and I'd go for a break, and as I remember it, you like working throughout the day, and then you'd go, sometimes you'd go out in the evening or whatever, and we used to go to the movies, and Barb showed up every day, and she did the work, and she built the fire, and she even enrolled a bunch of kids from the neighborhood to pick up logs and sticks around the place so that we'd have the wood to burn. So, you were always pretty crackerjack, Barb,
Yeah.
And I know when you and I are together that I can organize you, but as far as how much work a cafe is and all, that I'm not there, so I have no idea.
Yeah. Some of it has to do with location,
I'll tell you one thing though, as far as being a Cure Cafe, like I noticed, see, that's another thing. Like just as you've been talking just now, and you talked about, you know, having a place to, you know, to do immunics with people, and, or, you know, you also talked about competing with the other bakeries and so on. And it doesn't seem like you have this laser focus on, like, you know, this is what a Cure Cafe is, and I can do this. You know, I can do this, I can make it work. Now, if I was there with you...
And the assistants and stuff.
Yeah, if I was there with you, I could create that with you, I have no doubt, and it would not fail.
Yeah, because I mean, the people who really want to be assisting you, not necessarily me, or you know, the cause or something.
Well,
Is it possible, Buyer, that you go there for a period with Barb?
not really. There's no place for me to stay there, and I have a lot of stuff I travel. You see, when I used to travel around the United States, but I had a house where I went. Every place I went, I had a house. You know, I had a room. I kept clothes in 5 cities. I had a different wardrobe for each city, so I'd go there and I'd put on my clothes, you know, from my closet where I lived. Because I lived in Santa Fe, and I lived in Florida, and I lived in New York, and Philadelphia, and San Francisco, and Los Angeles. I lived in all these places. So I could get on a plane and go there, and go to my room and take a nap and wake up and go out to dinner. Because I lived there. And I don't live in Albuquerque. I don't have a place. So anybody who wants me to come out there is going to have to set a place up for me, you know. And,
You have Anna's house. Yeah.
well, meanwhile, Anna's renting her house, you know, and turning it into a bed and breakfast and so on. So, you know. I mean, I had rich assistants, and also we had a lot of money, and we you know, we owned a bunch of places or rented them or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. And when I did this web thing, I decided we could do everything that we wanted to do from the web. And now I realize that we can't. But the thing is, see, I'm not in a come-through about this. The reason that I don't think you're a flake, Barb, is because I'm not in a come-through about it. I don't have to make it work. I don't have to make, you know, that, I don't have to make that cafe into a Cure Cafe. It's not a come-through.
Yeah. Well, last night when you mentioned come-throughs, I thought you meant like you might be in a come-through around your relationship with me. Like you know, you're thinking, well, gee, I owe Barb, I should help Barb get successful. But the truth is, you don't. But then I'm sort of left here. You know, I still have come-throughs around my family or just my own life, you know.
Yeah, well, you need to clear those. No, the thing that I think about you, and that I always think about you, is always the same. That you are one of my biggest assets.
Mm-hmm.
You are, there's nobody like you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the person who came up with the name Cure Cafe.
Uh-huh.
You're the person who came up with what to do when people walk in. You know, to ask them if they want to try curing something.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're invaluable. You're irreplaceable. That is the way I relate to you. Not as a come-through. It's not like I have to make you a success. It's that if you, like, I definitely need, it is, my job is to figure out the best way, the most effective way to use you, to put you to use.
Yeah, but I don't want that to be a come-through.
It's not.
I think it is kind of.
It isn't.
And I've been almost holding it like it was, like I was depending on you to do that too.
It's
and
not.
I failed that.
It isn't. It's just my job. And see, the thing about Anna, what I noticed was that Anna didn't understand how to use you. And so she tried to make you into all these other things that you weren't. And she didn't realize that you were somebody who always could have put that cafe over the top, right from the day you walked in. But you had to be used properly. Look, let's put it this way. There was a guy, like, I can't remember, it was one of these cutting-edge pharmaceutical companies. They did biotech, okay? And they put an ad in the paper for a research guy. It was just a little ad, like in the Help Wanted. And they got this guy who made them, this guy created that company. They hired this guy and they put him in the right job. And he came up with all these like stem cell applications. And he was this Chinese guy who was willing to work 7 days a week for 14 hours a day for 2 years. And he wasn't in a come-through. He was just, that was his thing. That's what he did. You know, that's what he liked. And he just did one cutting-edge thing after another. They killed all the other biotech companies. And suppose they had made him the, you know, the head of purchasing, instead of and putting him in the job he was. See, and that was the problem with what Anna did. Was she, you know, she had this incredible people person, so she was thinking, well, but can she buy, you know, ingredients
At Sam's Club, yeah.
at Sam's Club?
Which I can. See, that's the other thing. I thought maybe it was sort of like going backwards. See, like I thought I could do all that stuff, you know, and I can do that stuff, and I, you know, kind of like it, but it's like, is it the best use of me? And and was it a come through just to show that I could, and I could hustle and all that stuff?
Well, see, the thing is, the place where you need to be, and that you need to be in this place willingly, okay? Not as a come through, but willingly. The place where you need to be is you need to want to be standing behind a counter next to an assistant and watching the assistant. And when somebody comes up to the counter, the assistant says, you know, do you want to try curing something? He doesn't say anything else other than getting the guy what he wants, his you know, latte or something.
Yeah.
And you can't have any other ideas. You just have to run that. And the assistant has to do exactly the same thing with each and every person at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, that's the part we didn't factor into this whole idea. Like, we're thinking about doing it all myself, but what if I manifested the right team of assistants?
Well, that's
managing the assistants.
That's the name of the game. You know, that's what the cafe wouldn't be a success without the assistants.
Yeah, but that's the thing I feel like I'm flaking on, that whole scenario of creating like a.
No, it's actually, look, let's put it this way. If I were with you, I would focus you. You know, I would stand next to you while you watched the assistant, and we would both, you know, like, so the three of us would be there, and after a while you'd get the hang of it, and after a while the assistant would get the hang of it, and then he'd train people. And we'd go on like that, and you'd come up with other things like the name and the first thing you say, and we, you know, we would be the brain trust. And then you would go purchase the stuff, and it wouldn't feel like a big stretch or like it was struggling. You would be doing it willingly. But you might have been right to not take this cafe on, Barb, because it could have turned into the biggest come through ever, and like it could have wrecked you.
Yeah, well, I felt it happening. I could feel myself wrecking myself, and I know that because I know what I do when I'm going to come through, and that's what was happening.
I think that's the key. You have to recognize it, so you really have to be aware.
Yeah, I started feeling that.
What's really you and what's a dysfunction, and it for anybody about anything, anybody who's listening to this, and you test about these things. Of course, it helps to have other people around you who are also testing. So you know, and lead a life where it's just right there. Oh gosh, there's that thing that's been bugging me my whole life.
Yeah. I gotta tell you a story. When I was in jail in 1967, there was this guy who fancied himself a poker player. And in jail, you play for cigarettes. You know, these little hand-rolled cigarettes. And so I had a bunch of them, and he had a bunch of them, and we were playing. And you know, what I learned, I had never played much poker, but what I learned is you don't bet. Like, if you don't know you've got it, you don't bet. Unless you, every so often you bluff. But when you don't have it, you fold your hand and don't show it to anybody.
Yeah.
You don't let anybody, you never let anybody see your hand. You just fold it and, you know, give the guy the cigarettes and, you know, and you win when you do that. So if you felt like this was the wrong move at the wrong time in the wrong place, then you were right to just pass up on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of opportunities here too that are probably more. I'm just more. What was I noticing? I'm like I remember when my mother, we were going through this whole thing about where we're gonna send her to retire. Like, should she? And we all decided Tucson would be the place. My sister lives there. She has a beautiful home. Mm-hmm. You know, they have beautiful places for her to live there, and I'd be closer, and my sister would be closer, and it's warm and everything. Well, my mother didn't want to leave Wisconsin. You know, there's not one of us in Wisconsin for 2,000 miles, but she didn't want to leave. She didn't want to leave her friends and her familiar area and her doctors, and that was like I realized I'm kind of like an old person. There I was, just an hour away, but I'm in a different city, and you know, and I could have made it happen. Like, you know, I was already meeting people, and people were like, "Oh man, you know." Remember, like Antonio, our friend Antonio, was like, "Wow, you know, Barb's so cool, and I want to be friends with Barb and stuff." But it was like totally starting over, and when I come back here, and it feels like so safe, it's so easy here. Not easy, but you know, I have a whole community that I created here. Even though I'm not that close to them, but it's, you know, it's my home. It's not like my home.
I know what you mean.
Person. I was physically really challenged there.
Well, you know, if you're not, see, look, let's put it this way. Mostly what people do, and see, this is going to be the summary for the class, okay? And then we're going to stop. Mostly what people do is they waste their lives. You know, they waste their lives in compensations and proofs and come-throughs and a great many other things that reactiveness is, reactions to come-throughs. They're saying no because they were saying yes compulsively. And see, what I've noticed about Franny, are you there now? Can you hear me?
I heard the whole meeting, but you couldn't hear me before.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I can hear you now. And what I've noticed about you is that you just did too many things, and you lost track of what you were willing to do and what you weren't somewhere along the line. And so you became unwilling to do anything.
Yeah, I heard that before, yeah.
And you're finding your way out of that now, like you're sorting yourself out. But this is how people waste their lives. And Barb, that's what you were starting to go into. You were going into this whole syndrome where you were going to be compensating and, you know, handling the guilt and the, you know, and proving things to people and you know, and
Whoa.
If you,
What was that?
Sorry, it's a truck outside.
if you don't do that, if you simply fold your poker hand, there'll be another hand that gets dealt in a minute. Get the idea? Like maybe the next hand will have better cards. Like, don't bet the ranch on this hand.
You have to know when to hold and when to fold.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's kind of what Anna was saying. But that's where I feel like, oh, gee, I'm not, you know. where's the next I have to just trust that the next opportunity will come, and of course it's winter and all that. I'll be all right. Yeah, you're right.
Barb, like my commitment to you has never wavered because my assessment of you never wavers because you keep giving me things I need. Mm-hmm. You gave me the name of the cafe. You gave me the thing to do when somebody walks up to the counter. See, I'm in the middle of designing this. Mm-hmm. And, maybe I'm better off, like, not having a cafe till I do a little more designing.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So, thank you all, everybody. You've all given your contribution.
Yeah. I feel like saying I'm sorry, but that would be comfy.
Bob, can I tell you just that I love you
Oh.
with all my heart.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just being like a spoiled brat or something.
Immunix means never having to say you're sorry.
Fight Club.
That means
I can't give it up.
Yeah, I love you.
Thanks, Ross. I love you too.
Thank you.
Really do
I
something.
really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, Barb.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate you, Barb. You're wonderful.
Well, I think everybody loves you enough to recognize what your limitations are, which is fine. It's good for people to see you realistically not expecting.
Yeah, you don't have to prove anything. Absolutely.
Thank
Be
you.
yourself. That's enough.
Well, I learned to love with dogs. And, dogs have a lot of limitations, like they don't, speak English very well, And I still just love them so much,
Yeah.
I mean, they could be dumb and I still love them, or whatever they are. They can be greedy and overeat and Zeke got really fat, and I still just.
That dog was bad.
He couldn't walk, he ruined his body. He ate too much, and I just loved him anyway, I just always loved my little pups.
Yeah.
And they responded. They responded, Like Kunster was always trying to kill this other dog who was this friend of mine. We'd run into these dogs, and the dog was a wolf.
Uh-huh.
And Kunster wanted to kill the dog because it was a wolf, And I would always grab Kunster, pull her back, And then, one of the last times we were in the park together, those dogs came along. Kunster was not near me, and she was sitting far away from me, and the dog was walking by. And, she just sat there. She said, okay, I get it. You don't want me to attack this dog. Fine, okay, I won't. And she just let the dog pass. Didn't even acknowledge the dog.
Mm.
And it didn't mean she was going to like a wolf, but she just was a good dog, She went along with what I wanted to do, They responded to love. So.
Right.
Everybody test, have we cleared some come-throughs today?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a yes on this. I'm so glad I made this class on come-throughs.
Yes.
I really am. You know what I was thinking? I just want to throw this out to everybody. I was thinking that our class for next week, we haven't done one of these, and we probably should. Maybe it's a little abstract, but we'll see. But it's a class on dimensions.
Wow.
Involution, evolution, and dimensions.
Wow.
Yeah? Good?
Oh, yes.
Good idea?
Wonderful idea.
Evolution.
Okay.
Evolutions.
All right.
We'll put a tweet. So
What?
we have the link and everything. Right, Bayard?
I will tweet some links, yes.
Tweet some links.
Everybody tweet a little something that you learned from the class, guys. And I'll be seeing you all later.
Okay, thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. I love you all.
See you later.
Okay.
This is the Cure Drive cult homepage. You can see we tally our cures. That's the tally there, 132,000. You report your cures here, right here. That's the link to report your cure. Okay, this is the movie that people start with generally. And there's a lot of people actually curing things on camera in this movie and demonstrating exactly how to do it. It's 4.5 hours. So you would be able to probably understand and know what these people are doing by watching this. We are a cult because we're all over the world. Maybe one person in a town, just one little guy who cures things in a whole town full of people who don't, whose spouse thinks she's crazy because she's curing things and he doesn't. She doesn't get sick and he's down with the flu for 5 days and he still thinks she's crazy. We've had spouses die. So this person is demonstrating curing herpes in this movie, the one you're watching right there. And it goes on like that. Now, these are the people here. You see this black area here? This is our Twitter feed. These are the people you want to talk to. And what you do, see, it says follow Cure Drive. And that's what you do. You click on that, and then you pick somebody. Anybody in here will be happy to help you. So you write to people that you see in here. And there's all these people all talking about what they're curing. So that's what you do. You pick somebody that that seems like a kindred spirit, presumably, and you write to them. See that picture of the cat there? That's Rosella. She's one of the people whose spouse died. He was a very great guy. He just thought it was nuts. Never did it. Died of cancer. Not too long ago, about 2 months ago. So anyway, you just, you write to somebody and, tell them what you are trying to do. People are always asking about negative medical tests. Here, let me show you. This is a voicemail message. You should probably, if you're interested in getting a negative medical test on, let's say, herpes, she got negative medical tests in both kinds of herpes. And she left me this message when she got her letter from the, hospital, I guess. She was in New Zealand. So her tests are free. Now, of course, there's an enormous website behind this homepage. I guess you're probably guessing, right? And if you see these movies, these are all people demonstrating curing various diseases. These people chose to contribute their cures to your effort to cure yourself. There are around, I guess, over 800 movies, and some of them are linked to this page. So if you click on any one of these pictures, it will go to a movie and that movie will start playing. So join the cult. Your friends will be worried about you. You're in a cult, they'll be worried. you have the crazy idea that you can cure medically incurable diseases. They're going to be very concerned, especially if you're battling cancer. Your friends will be worried, and that's a good thing. You will cure things, and that is also a very good thing. You will begin curing things the moment you join, because that's how you join. You cure something. When you cure something, you're in the cult. If you want to get out of the cult, just stop curing things, and you won't be in the cult anymore. Easy to exit. Your easy exit strategy. And who knows? You may even cure the medically incurable disease that you came in here to cure. A lot of us did. That's me there in the movie holding forth on how to cure things. I'm on the cure team. That's what I did. I cured a medically incurable disease. Two of them, actually. So I cured 2 kinds of herpes. It was about 4 months after I started doing this that I actually discovered, I'm the person who discovered that you could cure physical diseases. July 1993, my 20th anniversary just passed. I haven't had an outbreak of herpes for 20 years, and before that, I was having outbreaks for 28 years. I got herpes in 1965. The end of the year. 28 years of outbreaks followed by 20 years of no outbreaks. That's how bad it can be and how good it can be if you let it be good. So, take the courageous step that almost everyone you know will advise you not to take. Join the cult. When you're in the cult, your friends will get sick and you will get well. Your friends will give sympathy and you will give cure. And you'll know that you don't even need to take a vitamin pill to cure something. You can just cure it with nothing. Just with you. What can you contribute? What will your contribution be? This woman is curing a flu right on camera. She came in with full symptoms and they were all gone in 15 minutes. You can see it happen. Flu is an incurable viral-based disease. It's medically incurable. She cures it right in front of you. We eagerly await your contribution. And here they are, eagerly awaiting your contribution. And anything that you say to any of these people will probably be a contribution of some kind.